everybody? Can you hear me? How about now?
Yes or no here? Cool. Beautiful. All right, so my name is Kendrick Tate. I ran for city council this year. I am a lifelong Erie resident, and I know exactly why people feel the need to commemorate today, or why they feel the need to commemorate May 30th. The situation that happened with George Floyd's murder at the hands of police isn't just the only incident of police brutality that affects Black people in America. You know, it's not just one incident. It's not just one person. It's every single one of us every day who have to wake up and realize we're seen as monsters, or we're seen as menaces in this country, with these people living our own lives, trying to do the best that we can. And the reason I ran for city council is to make sure that the people who see us see our potential. They don't just see some Black man, they don't just see some Black woman, they don't just see someone who might cause trouble, might rustle feathers. They see somebody who cares about the place they live, they care about themselves, they care about the people like them, the people around them, and the people who care about them. So, you know, I don't have this big speech, I don't have a lot to say. I'm just here to, you know, speak on the reality of the reason why we're all gathering, the reason why we want to demonstrate, what compels us to actually be here, to feel like we're a part of this movement. And it all stems from the fact that we all deserve to know our worth, and we all deserve to show that worth to each and every person around us. So I want to thank you all for coming here. I want to thank you all for coming here to commemorate George Floyd and to recognize why we're continuing this movement every day of every month of every year of our lives. Thank you.
Can everyone hear me? Okay. My name is Jamel Allen. Some of you might already know me. And for the others, I was horrified by what I seen and what played out all over the internet, all over social media, by, you know, seeing the blatant murder of George Floyd a year ago. I was angry, pissed off, sad, heartbroken for his family. And I couldn't believe what I was watching play out. But there have been so many instances of Black and brown people facing that same reality at the hands of law enforcement. And when I seen that, I felt like I had to get involved somehow, some way, do my small part. So when we came down here and gathered on May 30th, I felt compelled to come down here and show my support, be involved, get involved to do something. And throughout that summer, I got reconnected with people that I was close with before, and met a lot of great people who shared the same type of goals. And that's to, make not only this city a better place, but also fight racism, fight hatred, fight inequality by any means necessary. And at the beginning, I was very eager to help out, but I just didn't know how or how I could. And I know there's probably a few of y'all that can, relate to that feeling. So I just did what I could. And, we protested, we marched, we organized, we planned. We did whatever we could last summer to try to make a difference in, Erie, PA. And one thing that I did recognize is there's a lot of people who really wanted to see some change in this city. Recognize that, yes, although we've made progress, although we've made strides, there's real problems right here. And we've had problems right here in Erie, PA. And we can't ignore it. We can't pretend like that's, not going on here. And the sooner that we recognize and, realize that there's issues here, right here, locally, and try to do something about it, the better off we'll be. And I know we faced opposition. Like, as many people who came out to support us, we had people that was, didn't want to hear what we had to say when we marched out on these streets, out on Erie Square, out, down on the east side, down on the west side. They didn't want to hear it, even though we were standing up for equality, standing up to fight against, injustice, racism, hatred, sexism, all of that. And I know it gets hard sometimes, but we need to still continue to fight for what's right, fight for what we believe in. And we're gonna face opposition, just like our parents, just like our older relatives face that same opposition. That, we can't let that deter us, not one bit. And I'm just going back to like the whole George Floyd trial and right before the verdict. I know I'm probably not alone in feeling this way. Like I didn't watch much of the trial, even though I got updates on it. I don't know, I just didn't want to hear the details. I mean, I know we've heard it all over TV for this last year, and I know right before the verdict, I had this feeling of like an uneasy feeling. Like, this should be like a slam dunk type of criminal case. We all seen that man get murdered. But given the history in this country, we wasn't sure of the outcome. And that's not right. His life should have been paid. Right? His life should have been valued just like anyone else's life. And I just remember feeling like after the verdict came down, relief, and I got why people were celebrating. But it was a conflicted feeling. Like, yes, justice was served, and I was happy for his family and his loved ones that they got real justice, but like, a man is still dead after all of that. It should not have happened. But I'm just glad that his family got justice in the end. I came down here to honor the 1-year mark of George Floyd, but also with something else on my mind. My neighbor, for years, his ear. a very bright, talented young man, my neighbor, her son. He was gunned down last December in a totally unnecessary act of violence. He had such a bright future ahead of him. And it's just sad to see his life cut so short before his time. And I'm out here to stand up and seek justice for him. And like he was so much into basketball. He had dreams of playing in the NBA. And he was starting to he was starting that journey. He was playing basketball on his middle school team, and I remember years ago he was friends with my nephew when he was staying with me, and they would always chill together. They would always play ball together. They were even going to school together, and that was one of his good friends. And just to see that could have been my nephew. That could have been my brother. That could have been me. Anyone's kids. And it shouldn't happen that way over a senseless act of violence. Like, I know as a city, we can do better, especially when it comes to teaching our youth the right way. Like, there's better and more productive ways to settle your beefs than that. And I don't know how many of y'all have heard of, about this case, about Kazir. He wasn't even the target of this senseless act of violence. But he was caught at the wrong place at the wrong time, and that's a damn shame. It never should have happened. Like I said, I'm just seeking justice for Kazir, because I met his mother over the course of these last 6 months, and I've been close with his grandparents, and they've been going through it. They've really been going through it, because not only have they mourned the loss of a son, a grandson, a cousin, a nephew, a brother, they have to deal with the people who committed the act, tormented and bragging about it all over social media, all over the city. And that's not right. So I'm up here standing with his mother to demand justice for Kazir. We want to see the ones who are guilty of these acts, of these crimes, brought to justice. And I hope all of y'all will stand with us and demand for justice for Kazir.
Thank you.
Hello, can everyone hear me? I want to take a moment and thank everybody for coming out and honoring the memory of George Floyd. I am deeply sorry to hear of the loss of such a young soul in our community, and it saddens me. My name is Jasmine Flores, and I'm a community organizer, activist, and soon to be the first Latina to ever serve on Erie City Council come November 2nd with the support of my community. I am proof that every vote matters. In 2019, I lost my primary election by 187 votes. I won this primary election with the second highest vote to ever be received this primary. Next to Liz Allen, an incumbent who served on Erie Times News for over 20 years. So, I want to say that I completely support police reform. I support a citizen review board. I support us having yearly reviews on our police and having somewhere for our community to report when the police are harassing and terrorizing our community. I live on the Lower East Side, and I can speak that I see the police prowling my neighborhoods, bothering the kids in the parks, honking their horn, throwing their siren off at them. There's no need for that. They're playing. Leave them alone. We have no places for our young people to go to not get in trouble. And then we have lack of representation everywhere they turn around. We don't have police who look like them. We don't have firefighters who look like them. We don't even have teachers who look like our young people. And yet, we have a project housing on Holland that if they live there, they get to see the prison every day they step outside their doorstep. So you can sit here and tell me that we're inclusive and that we care about diversity in the city, but as a 28-year-old who grew on East 5th Street in a neighborhood that was prowled by the police, you don't care about the communities of color. That's why you guys always just go out and reach the voters in the white neighborhoods. But I'm proof that the community cares about the minority vote. And the minority vote is the majority. And sooner rather than later, we're gonna have the representation our community deserves when we have predominantly 40% minority population in the city. So I don't know what everybody needs to do, but I'm telling you, registering your family and friends and making sure they turn out on local elections will get us the policy changes we desperately need in our community. We're not going to get any change. They're going to listen to us and then they're going to send us off. That's what they do. That's why I decided to run in 2019 and that's why I decided to run again in 2021. We are going to be the representative leaders that we need in our community because the ones who have been doing it have not been doing their job. And so everybody who is currently elected official, you're on notice. The community is listening. The community is getting more involved. And as a 2018 activist and organizer, the crowds are getting bigger. So I would be on a very short unemployment job search if you want to keep your job. Because we're going to engage the voters who are left in the neighborhoods that nobody cares about. And we're going to turn out every election, as you can see, based off of the numbers. So we are going to change the way the police treat our community, and the only way that's going to happen is with the community involved. So thank you, and I hope that on November 2nd I have your vote, and as well as engaging new voters.
This will be our last speaker, folks, at the Erie Action Vigil for George Floyd.
Hello. Okay, I'm not very good at public speaking, so I'm gonna make this quick. We're just out here because we wanted to provide a space to honor George Floyd. George Floyd's family first and foremost, and his loss, and how that impacted communities across the country, ours included. Right now, I think we're gonna start lighting the candles to do the vigil. We're gonna do a 9-minute moment of silence. We're not gonna kneel. Didn't like doing that last year. We're just gonna give our respects and period of 9 minutes. Black Lives Matter. Whoever wants to come get a candle, I only got about 50 or 60 here, so when we run out, that's it. Black votes matter, Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, lay them on.
There'll be a 9-minute silent vigil.
Oh yeah, one more thing I forgot to mention. I have some black boards over here. If anybody wants to give their feedback, I'm gonna try and submit this to either the mayor or the police department about what we've accomplished. Personally, I don't think it's much. We have accomplished much, but our officials have not. And the work still needs to be done. So if you want to give your feedback, go ahead and write it on these boards over here. I got some Sharpies.
There'll be a 9-minute silent vigil to honor George Floyd, and then this event at Perry Square in Erie should conclude. We'll stay with you until then.
Okay, so the last thing I just wanted to say is that if you notice some of these candles are a little bit off-white. They were salvaged by one of our members from our demonstration on May 30th last year, so they hold a little bit of special significance. We just want to keep the flame of this social justice movement ignited, so thank you all for coming. And with that, we're going to go ahead and start our observing 9 minutes of silence or quiet reflection. Thank you.
Future right here, look. Hi. Hey, little boy. Hey. Hi. Give me a bow. Give me a bow. Hi. Give her a bow. That's the future right there. Look. Hey, get him right here. Get him. Get these ones right here.
Hey.
Get him. Get him.
Look my hand. Do you know what that white color is?
Nah. You right? Gorgeous. Come on. You gonna rock with me? Rock, rock, rock. Amazing. Good girl. Good to you. Amazing. Come on. Come on. You know me.
We've got about 50 people who have joined the vigil at Perry Square to honor the 1-year anniversary of the death of George Floyd in Minneapolis. They're holding a 9-minute vigil, peaceful reflection. We'll be signing off here in just a minute as we take one last pass at the crowd. Once again from Perry Square, this is Christopher Millett for GoErie.com and the Erie Times News, signing off from the George Floyd Vigil. Thank you for watching. Return to GoErie.com for updates.